Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson, and we're continuing our study of the book of Habakkuk. And we're in the second part of the book of Habakkuk. Chapters 1 and 2 are about a direct dialogue between God and the prophet, where the prophet has two questions and God has two answers. The prophet's first question is, How long? How long are you going to put up with the sinfulness of your people and not do something about it? And the answer is, I am doing something about it. I'm going to send the Babylonians, and they're going to destroy you and haul you into captivity. The second question is, how can you do this? Certainly, you cannot do this. They're worse than we are. And God's answer at the end of chapter 2 is, yes, and I'm going to judge them too. And then he enumerates their sins. You're not telling me anything I don't already know. I know this. I know how bad they are. And they're going to be punished. There's going to be cause and effect. They're going to be held accountable for all the terrible things that they have done and are doing and will do to you. But before that happens, they have a role to play. And of course, chapter 2 ends with the Lord is in his holy temple, that all the earth keeps silent before him. And then we have in chapter 3 what is called the prayer of the prophet. We begin with the burden of the prophet and then the prayer of the prophet, as if the burden was lifted and now he's got his answers and he's got closure and resignation and he can move on. But it's not that simple. Um, he's he's as scared as he can possibly be, but his faith is affirmed, which is the way this chapter ends. The part of chapter 3 that is the prayer proper and not something spoken to us about God, praising his name, are just the first two verses. So let's read those verses, and that's what we're going to cover today. A prayer of Habakkuk the prophet according to Shigionot. If this were a psalm in the Psalms, that would be the superscription, not verse 1. And that word, Shigionot, it's plural. It's got a plural ending, but we don't know what it means. In the same way, we don't know what his name means. It's only used one other place in Scripture. That's in Psalm 71, which is one of the Psalms of Korah. That's also set to Shigionot. So that's got to be a musical notation of some sort, 3/4 time, or presto, or adagio, or to the tune of My Country 'Tis of Thee. I don't know. It probably means something like one of those things in Hebrew, but we don't know what it is. Um, Yahweh, I have heard the report about you, and I fear. O Yahweh, revive your work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years, make it known. In wrath, remember mercy. There's no disputing the righteousness of God's wrath, but he does communicate this. I am scared. I'm scared. Being scared doesn't mean to be without faith. It can't, because he holds the two things simultaneously in verses 16 and following at the end of the chapter. I am so scared. I've heard what you've just said, and you have frightened me beyond my ability to bear that fright. And so he says, okay, you are going to do this. I don't doubt it. And this is necessary. I don't doubt that either. But show us some mercy in the middle of this. And these two verses so remind me of the totality of Psalm 90, the psalm that Moses wrote, that teach us to number our days. Psalm that just says, we humans, we're flawed, we're evil, we don't deserve salvation, um, and we don't expect it, but show us some mercy and please preserve the work of our hands. Very small things that Moses is requesting. Um, then again, they're very big things too, if because the work of his hands were enormous. But 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 the prophet is doing something quite similar here. He is in full acceptance of the way the world is, and in full acceptance of the way human beings are, even human beings in covenant relationship with God. But he asks for forgiveness. No, he asks something beyond forgiveness. He asks for grace. He asks for grace, something they don't deserve. And mercy, hesed, um, you know, we're covenanted to you. We've broken that covenant. We're going to be punished for breaking that covenant as we deserve. But don't forget the covenant and don't take it away from us. That's in that passage as well. Okay, we're going to look at chapter 3, verses 3 through 15, which is a hymn of praise to God as fierce, conquering military hero. And so we'll read that next time. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.